How can insurance expenses be controlled for individuals that are on fixed incomes, or is it just next to impossible?
It's not impossible
No?
at all. Insurance is required. It's required on your auto in the state of New York. It's required on your home
True.
if you have a lien on your home. But it's also, it's again, protecting your assets that you've worked so hard to build. First of all, I'd like to say, understand that insurance premiums do change. There's so many things that go into insurance premiums, and they will go up and go down. And a lot of people think, my car is a year older, why is it that my insurance went up? It will happen. Your car may not be worth as much if it's totaled, but most of the time we're repairing something, and the cost of labor and the cost of materials does go up all the time. It depends on how you drive, your driving record, that type of thing, but premiums will change. The important thing is that you keep an eye on it and you work with your insurance professionals to make sure that you're getting everything that you're entitled to from a discount standpoint.
Right, and there are, I'm sure, as you can attest to, there are a number of discounts that are available out there, right?
Absolutely.
That a lot of folks may not even be aware of.
Right.
But again, finding a good agent who knows that and can share that advice, I think would be very helpful.
Absolutely. And let me give a couple of tips. Let's talk about auto insurance first. Consider raising your deductibles. Instead of taking the first $500 on your own, you might want to take the first $1,000, especially when your car gets older. Nothing costs less than $1,000 to repair on a car now. So if you can live with the scratch, raising your deductibles will help that. And there are times when you should consider dropping some of the coverages. For example, collision coverage on your car. If it's going to cost you, if it's not going to be a huge payout if your car is totaled, you're only going to get $1,000 or so, you might consider dropping your collision coverage so that you're not paying for something that's not going to be a benefit to you in the future. And as far as discounts go on your, especially on your auto, Tim, make sure that you're getting discounts by keeping policies together. Accident prevention courses are important. That is good every 3 years. For 3 years
and you
to
can
give
get
you
a
big
reduction or discount by attending one of those courses?
Yes, and you can do that online now.
You can do them online?
Through the
so
New York State DMV website. You don't have to go out, but a lot of places do offer those.
Sure, I was going to say, which website was that?
It's the New York State DMV website.
Okay, the DMV website. Okay.
So, and that keeps you fresh too, because as technology and vehicles change and things, it's always good to stay on top of that.
That's
to
very
make sure
true.
that your driving is the best it can be.
Absolutely. Yes, so many different gadgets, I like to call them, on cars now, so that as a person maybe trades up and gets a little newer car, they might find that there are a lot of things on there that they haven't had before, and they got to get used to it. And so it's a good idea to take that refresher.
You know, if you think back, even when anti-lock brakes came on, you had to pump your brakes and do something completely different, and that's true with a lot of the new gadgets.
Very true, absolutely. I know a lot of cars now come with these little backup cameras as well, and if you're not used to using that, and you know, they say you shouldn't rely on that entirely, I know, but again, another reason, be familiar, another reason to take the course.
Absolutely.
And so not only can it benefit you or your driving skills, but it can save you some money on your auto insurance.
That's right.
Great tip.
Let's talk about some homeowners things to do. You may also consider raising your deductible on your homeowner's insurance, and a lot of people have $500 is pretty typical. $1,000 is becoming more and more popular, or a percentage of the cost of your dwelling. And some people say to me, Amy, you know, $1,000 is a lot of money. But if you think about a $500 deductible in comparison to a $25,000 auto, versus a $1,000 deductible in comparison to a several $100,000 home, percentage-wise, it's not that big. And the money that you can save by just changing that deductible and putting aside
can be considerable.
Absolutely. And the average homeowner has a claim every 14 to 15 years, so it really can put that money aside. The other thing I would suggest is make sure that you know that you have your home properly insured. What is the rebuild value of your home? And is that you don't want to overinsure your home. And you don't want to underinsure your home.
No, you want to be able to replace it if you need to.
And a lot of people don't even know how they came up with that rebuild value in the first place.
I was just going to ask you that, so if you've got the answer.
Some people, when you purchase your first home and the mortgage company says you're mortgaging X amount of money, that's what we want you to insure your home for. But think about it, that's covering, the mortgage is buying your land and your home. Markets fluctuate. But you want to make sure that the rebuild cost of your structure is what you are insuring. So, you know, work with your insurance professional and have an estimate redone on
Yeah, I
that.
was just going to say, what's the best way? Get an estimate through your insurance agent?
Right.
Okay.
We work new customers and people who want to reevaluate. They come in and we sit down and we go through a whole program of how many square feet and what are your floor coverings and what are your shingles and what would it cost us to rebuild that home today if it were to burn down tomorrow.
Sure.
You know, and here in Schenectady, Tim, is kind of unusual too because we've got some of these beautiful big old homes that would cost a lot of money to rebuild.
Right.
But that's not what the market value is. So you have to also make that decision. Do I want to insure it for what it's going to cost or maybe not as much?
Good point. So very important to get that estimate, again, so you're not over-insuring or under-insuring.
Absolutely.
Sure. I want to just stop you for a minute. We're getting a question here, and we can come back to this. But the question just came in, and thank you very much. My mother is 75. Can I buy life insurance for her? And what are my options, and what's the average cost?
Okay.
So.
Yes, the answer is absolutely yes, and it's you know, depending on everyone's situation, it's probably a very smart thing to consider, even at this at her age of 75. There are so many different options available. There's term insurance, which at this stage is extremely costly and may or may not provide what you need for it to do. There's whole life options. There are limited pay whole life options. There's universal life. So I don't want to just give out advice over you know the chat without knowing the specific situation or budget. But there certainly are things that you can do to put that in place.
I was just going to say, so if you'd like some more detailed information, get a hold of Amy or somebody that knows insurance and can help you answer that. But I guess the basic answer there was yes. She's not too old.
She's not too old.
75 years old. She's not too old for some type of life insurance.
Correct.
So hopefully that answered your question.
Correct.
So,
yes. I'd like to just a couple more points on saving money because I know that's a big one these days.
It's a very big one.
A very big one. Very big one. One of the things is make sure that you're maintaining your home and your vehicle properly, because that might keep you from having very costly repairs that may or may not be covered from your homeowners or your auto policy. So again, insurance is for catastrophic losses, sudden and accidental. It's not for maintenance. So as long as you do diligence on your maintenance, if you know something, hopefully you prevent something with a big expense going wrong.
Exactly. Yes, that makes sense to me. Hopefully it does to our viewers. Right.
Good.
Maintain your car.
Absolutely.
Okay.
Also, be true to yourself. If you don't feel like you can drive at night anymore, or you know, you have to sort of do a gut check because the more accidents that you have, the higher your premiums go.
That's right. That's right. And as we all get older, oftentimes it becomes more and more difficult to drive at night. That's one of the first, oftentimes one of the first warning signs that you maybe need to cut back a little bit, and maybe that means not driving at night. You know, you may be okay during the day, but maybe not driving at night. So good point.
And the last thing that I want to talk about when it comes to expenses is be an educated consumer. Decide for yourself what's the most important thing in insurance. Is it just price? Is it good advice? Is it accessibility or service or claims handling? And make your decisions based on what that most important thing is. Definitely shop around and look for rates. However, don't jump at every opportunity to save a couple of dollars, because you may be missing out on some long-term longevity and loyalty discounts. Every company is different, but there are some things that come along with that longevity, and there are also some guarantees sometimes with companies of insurability, even if you have an accident or two. So just be an educated consumer when you're looking at prices.
I was just going to say, so there are oftentimes little maybe hidden perks, I guess you might call them, that you might not be aware of. As you mentioned, but for instance, longevity, there could be a longevity discount or something like that.
But that doesn't mean you shouldn't look around once in a while.
Right, exactly, exactly.